A narrow strait, a determined militia, and the world's economic artery hanging in the balance. The recent wave of attacks by Yemen's Houthi movement on commercial shipping in the Red Sea has transformed a vital maritime corridor into a volatile geopolitical hotspot, sending shockwaves through global supply chains and igniting a complex international crisis. Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today, we're unpacking the escalating battle for global trade in the Red Sea. The dramatic seizure of the Galaxy Leader car carrier in November 2023, with Houthi commandos fast-roping from a helicopter, was a stark visual announcement of a new and dangerous phase in a long-simmering conflict. Since that moment, a relentless campaign of drone and missile strikes has targeted dozens of vessels. The world's largest shipping companies have been forced to abandon the crucial Suez Canal route, embarking on a longer, more expensive journey around Africa. This disruption hasn't just driven up costs and delayed goods. It has also drawn a multinational military response, raising the specter of a wider regional conflagration. To understand the current crisis, we must look beyond the headlines of exploding tankers and into the rugged mountains of northern Yemen, where the Houthi movement, also known as Ansar Allah, or Supporters of God, emerged as a potent and resilient force. The Houthi movement is deeply rooted in the Zaydi branch of Shia Islam, a sect that once ruled Yemen for a millennium before being overthrown in 1962. The Zaydis, who constitute a significant minority in Yemen, have since felt politically and economically marginalized. In the 1990s, a revivalist movement led by Hussein Badr al-Din al-Houthi sought to resurrect Zaydi traditions, which they felt were under threat from the growing influence of Saudi-funded Salafism. Initially, this was a theological and social movement. It focused on fighting corruption and opposing the government of President Ali Abdullah Saleh, whom they accused of being a puppet of the United States and Saudi Arabia. The movement's trajectory shifted dramatically after the 2003 U.S. invasion of Iraq. This event radicalized the group, infusing it with a potent anti-American and anti-Israeli ideology, heavily influenced by Iran and its Lebanese proxy, Hezbollah. The group's now famous slogan, "God is the greatest, death to America, death to Israel, a curse upon the Jews, victory to Islam," became its rallying cry. A government attempt to arrest Hussein al-Houthi in 2004 led to his death and sparked a series of 6 brutal wars between the nascent insurgency and the Yemeni state, which was backed by Saudi Arabia. These conflicts, far from crushing the movement, hardened its fighters and expanded its influence. The power vacuum created by the Arab Spring protests in 2011, which led to the ousting of President Saleh, provided the Houthis with a golden opportunity. They expanded their territorial control and, in a surprising turn of events, allied with their former foe, Saleh, to seize the capital, Sana'a, in September 2014. This takeover prompted a swift and devastating military intervention in March 2015 by a Saudi-led coalition aimed at restoring the internationally recognized government. The ensuing civil war has created one of the world's worst humanitarian catastrophes and served as the training ground for the force now challenging global trade. The stage for this conflict is one of the most critical maritime choke points in the world, the Red Sea, and specifically the Bab el-Mandeb Strait at its southern entrance. Its name, the Gate of Tears, has taken on a new and somber relevance. This narrow waterway, at one point only 18 miles wide, connects the Indian Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea via the Suez Canal, providing the shortest and most direct sea route between Asia and Europe. The strategic and economic importance of this corridor cannot be overstated. Approximately 12 to 15% of global trade passes through the Red Sea annually. This includes a staggering 30% of all global container traffic, which equates to over $1 trillion in merchandise each year. Furthermore, it is a vital conduit for energy supplies. Nearly 10% of the world's seaborne oil and 8% of its liquefied natural gas, or LNG, transits the strait. For countries in Europe and the Middle East, This route is an economic lifeline. Any disruption can cause massive economic losses. We saw a preview of this in 2021 when the container ship Ever Given ran aground in the Suez Canal, blocking traffic and costing the global economy an estimated $9 billion per day. The region's strategic value is further underscored by the concentration of international military bases in Djibouti, a small nation overlooking the strait, which hosts forces from the United States, China, France, and others. And with its control over Perim Island at the strait's entrance, Yemen holds a unique and powerful position to influence all of this maritime traffic. The Houthi attacks on shipping are presented by the group as an act of solidarity with the Palestinians amid the war in Gaza. The Houthis have declared that they will not cease their attacks until there is a permanent ceasefire and an end to the blockade of the Gaza Strip. Their initial targets were ships with declared links to Israel, but the attacks have since become more indiscriminate, hitting vessels with tenuous or even no connections to the conflict. To conduct these attacks, the Houthis have employed a diverse and increasingly sophisticated arsenal, largely believed to be supplied by their patron, Iran. This includes anti-ship ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, naval drones, which are essentially unmanned, explosive-laden boats, and airborne drones. They have also demonstrated the capability to conduct helicopter-borne raids to hijack vessels, as seen with the Galaxy Leader. This mix of low-tech and advanced weaponry, including Iranian-made components, has proven difficult to defend against completely. The motivations behind the Houthi campaign are multifaceted. While solidarity with the Palestinians is a powerful rallying cry that has boosted their popularity, both at home and across the Muslim world, the attacks also serve significant domestic and regional strategic goals. By confronting the United States and its allies, the Houthis project an image of resistance that strengthens their legitimacy within Yemen and the wider axis of resistance led by Iran. The attacks are a calculated move to enhance their bargaining position in any future negotiations over the fate of Yemen and to gain a form of international recognition. The escalating threat to maritime security has prompted a robust, albeit fragmented, international military response. In December 2023, the United States announced the formation of Operation Prosperity Guardian, a multinational naval coalition aimed at protecting commercial shipping in the Red Sea. This U.S.-led initiative involves over 20 countries, including the United Kingdom, Canada, France, and Bahrain. The coalition's primary role is to act as a highway patrol, providing a defensive umbrella for vessels and responding to Houthi attacks. Warships from participating nations have been actively shooting down Houthi drones and missiles. However, dissatisfied with this purely defensive posture, the United States and the United Kingdom have conducted multiple rounds of airstrikes against Houthi targets within Yemen since January 2024. These strikes have targeted radar installations, drone and missile storage and launch sites, and other military infrastructure in an effort to degrade the Houthis' capability to launch attacks. But these strikes have so far failed to deter the Houthis, who have vowed to continue their campaign. Meanwhile, the European Union, wary of being drawn into the US-led offensive, launched its own naval mission in February 2024, codenamed Operation Houtspots, which is the Greek word for shields. This mission, with contributions from countries like Germany, France, Italy, and Greece, has a purely defensive mandate. Its focus is on escorting merchant vessels and enhancing maritime surveillance, and it does not participate in strikes on Yemeni soil. In parallel to these military actions, diplomatic efforts are ongoing. Oman has been a key mediator, brokering back-channel talks between the parties. The United States has stated that its strikes will cease when the Houthi attacks end, but the Houthis have tied any de-escalation directly to the situation in Gaza. This crisis is deeply intertwined with the broader geopolitical landscape of the Middle East, particularly the long-standing rivalry between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Iran is widely seen as the primary enabler of the Houthis' military capabilities. Tehran provides the group with advanced weaponry, training, funding, and tactical intelligence, allowing them to project power far beyond Yemen's borders. While Iran denies direct involvement in ordering the attacks, its support is crucial for their execution. For Iran, the Houthis are a valuable proxy, allowing them to challenge the US and its allies, pressure Saudi Arabia, and expand their regional influence without engaging in a direct conflict that could be catastrophic for them. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, finds itself in a precarious position. After nearly a decade of a costly and largely unsuccessful war in Yemen, Riyadh is actively seeking a diplomatic exit and a lasting peace deal with the Houthis. This Red Sea crisis complicates those efforts immensely. While concerned about the threat to shipping, Saudi Arabia has urged restraint from the US and has not joined Operation Prosperity Guardian. They fear that an escalation could derail their peace talks and potentially lead to renewed Houthi attacks on Saudi territory itself. The kingdom is now reportedly exploring mediation with China to help resolve the crisis, a sign of shifting geopolitical alignments. The economic consequences of the crisis are already being felt globally. The rerouting of ships around Africa's Cape of Good Hope has added 10 to 14 days to journey times, significantly increasing fuel and operational costs. This has led to a surge in shipping rates, with the cost of a standard container from Asia to Europe more than tripling at its peak. These increased costs are likely to be passed on to consumers, potentially fueling inflation on everything from electronics to food. Countries heavily reliant on Suez Canal revenues, particularly Egypt, are facing severe economic strain, with transit volumes plummeting by as much as 50%. The crisis has also delayed the delivery of critical humanitarian aid to conflict-ridden nations like Yemen itself and Sudan. Looking ahead, the Houthi attacks pose a long-term challenge to the principles of freedom of navigation and international law. The crisis could accelerate a trend towards deglobalization and the friendshoring of supply chains, as companies seek to mitigate geopolitical risks by moving production closer to home or to allied countries. The success of a non-state actor in disrupting a major global artery may also embolden other groups in different strategic choke points around the world. A lasting resolution to the Red Sea crisis appears to be inextricably linked to a ceasefire in Gaza and a broader de-escalation of tensions between Iran and the West. Until then, the Red Sea will remain a contested and dangerous waterway. It serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of global trade and the complex interplay of local conflicts and international power struggles in the 21st century. The world watches, holding its breath, as the battle for this vital artery continues to unfold.